Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. It's called Grabbing Coffee with Arun, where I talk to everyday people that are doing interesting things. And today my guest is Willie Folks. He's the race director for the Woodlands Marathon. It's right outside of Houston, and I'm very excited to talk to him because he's a very busy man doing a lot of things. So Willie, just to start off with, welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, just to kind of tell me a little bit more about what is it like being a race director and how long have you been doing it?
It's exciting. You most definitely got to have a passion for hosting events and producing them. I've been doing it since 2004
So
is
you've
when
been doing it for a while.
yeah, so I started in 2004 with the Woodlands Township. I used to work for their Parks and Rec department, and they had wanted me to produce a triathlon. So basically, we created a sprint triathlon
Hmm.
right there at North Shore Park, and that was my very first race ever produced on the event production side. It was the Woodlands Triathlon, which ended up leading to Ironman Texas being formed and started
Oh
in
yeah.
the Woodlands. Yeah, so I guess I birth to some special endurance events in the Woodlands, and with that we were able to build um, obviously Ironman Texas, but more importantly, we were able to build the Woodlands Marathon. I've been, like I said, I've been doing it since 2006. I've probably been a part of over 400 or 500 races. I couldn't even tell you at this point in time how many races I've been a part of. Um, but yeah, this is it's very enjoyable being on this side of the fence, is what I call it, the
Hmm.
production side versus the participation side.
Right.
And so what you see is, you're changing lives. People that maybe didn't run and are just taking it up for the first time. People that may have been inflicted with a disease, or a family member may have passed. They're running in
Hmm.
memory of that family member, or they're running to better their quality of life. And so that's where you see um, complete satisfaction. On the flip side of that, we do things such as we raise money for charities. We use the Woodlands Marathon to give people the opportunity to raise money for their charities, and then we make a donation to the top fundraisers. And additionally, we provide donations to the volunteer organizations. They come out and volunteer at our event to help us produce it. So over the course of the first 15 years, we've done close to $2 million raised and donated from
Wow.
this event. So
That's a
yeah, it's
that's a
been,
crazy number.
yeah, pretty spectacular when you look at
So
the big picture.
so Willie, how many people do the full or the half and the 10K? Like how many?
So
Hmm.
the event's broken up into five distances. The 2K and 5K are the weekend before, and then we run the 10K, the half, and the full. The 2K had around 500 registered runners. The 5K had around 700 registered runners.
Hmm.
The next weekend, what you had for the 10K, you had 900 and about 25 registered runners. The half marathon had right around 3,500 registered runners, and the marathon had like 1,250 registered runners. So, all in all, close to 7,000 registered participants.
Are quite a few of these people, are they from out of town? Are they from the Houston area? Or you have any idea?
So, so typically, we run our numbers and we do our trends, and we like to see where participants are coming from. Typically, you're going to see about probably 5 to 10% travel from outside of town, i.e., outside of the Houston region, not necessarily the Woodlands, but the Houston region. Um, from the Woodlands area, i.e., Montgomery County and the Woodlands and Spring, you're probably looking at around 70% of the runners are from the Woodlands area or Spring and Montgomery County, and then the other the other 20% are probably from the Houston region. We're talking Clear Lake, Sugarland, Katy, Spring, downtown Houston, all the way out to the Woodlands. So it's kind of what the breakdown is from that
Yeah.
standpoint.
So I'm just kind of curious, how many people does it take, like yourself, to make this happen? Like volunteers and workers and all that.
So typically, I have a race committee of about 60
Wow.
committee members. And so they may do anything from elite runners to setting up pace teams to setting up the expo to parking along those lines.
Wow, it's interesting. So what
Now
about?
volunteers,
Mhm.
volunteers, we could have anywhere from 1,300 to 1,700 volunteers. It just depends on needs and how many time slots or how many shifts we've broken those into. But typically, I would say on average, right around 1,300 to 1,400 volunteers to make this event happen.
So I'm sure it takes a lot of your time too, right? You got to contact the police department, make sure all the streets are closed, and how far in advance do you tell the police department? Is it like several months in
So
advance, or?
yeah, it's funny you ask. So the Montgomery County and the Woodlands Township, they have event policies, obviously, and you've got to hit certain timelines on certain things. So we're already in the discussions. We're going to do our post event wrap up with the county commissioner's office, and that'll be in the next month. So we'll sit down, have a follow up meeting with them. Things that went well and things to do differently, areas we can improve upon. And then if there's going to be any course changes, we start having those discussions during that meeting just to kind of give them an idea of, what to expect if we're going to submit any different changes for any of the routes of the events. So you do that. Um, that's a plus you're notifying all the community stakeholders, whether it's the development company Howard Hughes. um, if you're working with Market Street, you're working with Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion, obviously the Woodlands
Mhm.
Township. So we're constantly following a timeline, a scheduled timeline to, we'll go 9 months out, 8 months out, 7 months out, and we've got these benchmarks that we want to make sure we're hitting. In addition to that, you're working with sponsors and you're trying to coordinate with sponsors, and seek new sponsors and try to fill all those sponsorship categories to help raise additional monies for volunteer organizations and the event itself. So it's a year round process. On the flip side of that, you may do some things like website updates, obviously the marketing side of things.
Mhm.
And then in addition to that, you're trying to coordinate with volunteer organizations and any organizations that just want to be a part of this event from a charity standpoint. Like this past year, we had the Correa Foundation come in and they raised, I think, over $200,000 just for their organization
Wow, that's a big number.
with this event. Yes, yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and I myself, I'm visually impaired, Willie, and I did the Woodlands maybe the half. That was my first half. I did it maybe 6, 7 years ago, and I did it in three.
Great.
I did it in 3 hours, and the thing I liked about it was that the streets are smooth, unlike the ones in Houston. Because I live in Houston, so the Houston half is just the streets are just. I mean, you probably know already, but the streets are just really
Yeah.
messed up, right? So
Everybody forgets we have vehicles on those roads daily beating them up. And so you do get, you know, you have your challenges down there in Houston. So it's good if you have a good guide at that point in time, right?
right, right, yeah, that helps. So do you hear any? complaints from the neighbors or any challenges that in running a big organization like this? Or
Yeah, we get the usual, there's a few people that just, unfortunately, they don't want their day disturbed. They don't see the overall benefits of this event for the community and for the individuals that are participating in it. Yes, we do get some complaints, and we handle each of them. We take each of them with the utmost respect. We don't want to be imposing or making people feel uncomfortable, but we also understand that sometimes that's just going to happen just by the personalities that we're dealing with from a residential standpoint. Overall, the community is great. Overall, a majority of the community is very, very supportive of this event, and they love it. And the fact that it's a Boston Marathon qualifier, even better.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's quite interesting. So how long has it been going on, the Woodlands Marathon?
So this one has been going on. It went away for like 19 years
Oh, it
back
did.
in,
Huh.
yeah, back in 1993
Mm-hmm.
was when it went away, and we brought it back in 2012. And so from that standpoint, bringing it back, it's been going 15 years strong. And so we're pretty happy and pretty blessed to do what we do, and we get the support of the county commissioner's office and the Woodlands Township, and understand the value of what this event does. It creates anywhere from a $4 million to $5.5 million economic impact each year.
Wow,
So
that's a big
yeah,
number.
it provides um, some hotel and sales tax revenue. Not to mention just the economic impact from people coming in to work the event, stay.
Hmm.
So it does a tremendous job in that regard. So we're pretty happy and pretty pretty satisfied with the impact that we're making on not just our runners' lives, but for the community at whole.
So let me ask you how many people does it take to kind of on your team, like directly that work under you to make this happen? I mean, like, like the first line coordinators and whatever else.
So we have so there's myself, our registration coordinator, our site director,
Mm-hmm.
and our marketing coordinator. They work on stipends, kind of like a secondary job.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously my full time job. Um, and then I have about 55 coordinators underneath them or
That's crazy,
underneath
right?
us. It can be anywhere from our brandage coordinator. We've got course coordinators. We've got water stop coordinators. So we have a finish line coordinator, start line coordinator. So you name it, we have it. So probably about 56 of them now. Our medical director is one of our event directors, Danny Golden. He handles the medical side of it. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
have anywhere from about 80 to 90 medical volunteers just to make this event go on.
That's
Um,
crazy numbers.
and then obviously we have the volunteers, which we spoke about earlier. I would say right around 1,300 to 1,400 volunteers annually that we're having to manage. And then we have contractors that come in, i.e., our timing and scoring group. They bring in like 10 staff to help score and time this event. We bring in vendors to help set up for the expo with all the pipe and draping, electrical stuff like that. All the tinning that's going on around the race site. I'll coordinate with Spectrum to set that up. So fencing, a lot of stuff goes into it. We have photographers that we hire and we bring in to do our promotional stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and create, just trying to create that image to where people feel like they're there. So yeah, there's multiple things. You probably noticed this year we had some music going.
Yeah.
along the course. Houston Methodist wanted to add something, so we did get a complaint on that the noise was too loud from the music, and I mean it really wasn't in our opinion, but they said it was like an 85 decibel. But we managed that. We spoke to the gentleman, and we'll work on that in the future. But yeah, so it takes a great, and that doesn't even include like the county commissioner and what they have to do to approve our traffic control plan. Um, the police officers, we have over 200 police officers there
Wow.
helping us shut the streets down and manage that. So there's a lot going on that a lot of people don't really understand until they get behind the scenes and they actually volunteer or work at an event.
So, Willie, what is the craziest thing that you've seen as a director?
I mean, we've one year we had some vandals come in and light a water stop on fire.
What?
We've seen,
Why would they do
I've
that?
just it's just teenagers with nothing better to do at 4 a.m. in the morning, I
Mm.
guess. And then they pushed over a bunch of porta potties. I have at one of my events, there was a death in
Oh,
the
really?
swim portion of a triathlon.
Wow.
So that was probably the most intense, earth shaking type deal for me,
Mm.
because you never want that. And then, you know, those are the big ones. I mean, we've had some folks get off course at our event and they didn't qualify for Boston. And we had to address that with them getting off course and why they got off course and what problem and this and that. So um, we see it, we see it. We've seen, the tragedy of a heart attack, but fortunately that person survived and lived well. I've seen a person down and blue in the face and 3 months later they're walking one of our events. They've made a comeback and they're walking our events. It's mind-boggling some of the stuff you see out there,
But it seems,
from a weather standpoint to a production standpoint.
but it seems like you guys raised quite a bit of money too, right? I mean, you take in quite a bit of money and you give away a lot of money too, I guess.
Yeah, it's not cheap. I mean, just the traffic control plan pieces. I mean, you're talking about that alone is about $175,000 just to get the signage and pay for the police officers. When you start adding in medical and you start adding in shirts and you start adding in, we'll spend close to $100,000 on shirts and glasses and hats and visors. And so it as quickly as it comes in, it quickly goes right out the door to somebody else, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
and Willie, to be honest with you, the reason I like the Woodlands race is because of the long sleeve shirts. Those those shirts are pretty nice, you know.
well, good, good. We were hoping you guys would like those.
Yeah, what happened to me was you were talking about people getting off track because my guide, he was taking me, I was supposed to be doing a 10K. Normally I do the half. And he guided me into the half the half lane
Oh
marathon, you
man.
know. So I don't know because the police officer said, but back at mile two, I guess it was supposed to be a sign or something. So, but we worked it out, so everything went okay. So,
Okay, good, 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 good.
so what happens if somebody gets injured in the on the track or whatever? How is that handled?
We
Is
have
there
um
medical team?
we have a SAG vehicles out there, and they come in to pick runners up and help them out, and or they can stop at one of our medical tents. We have a medical tent every 1.5 miles right around there with our
Mm-hmm.
water stops.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of helps us with another set of eyes. Obviously, we've got our race staff that's out there and volunteers that are keeping eyes on you guys and making sure that you guys are all safe and fine.
Right.
So, so
So
that's kind of, fortunately, we've been able to do that with the Woodlands Marathon, and 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 we can't do that without Houston Methodist's support. They do a tremendous job for us on that, and they're a title sponsor of our half marathon.
Right, right. One last question. Have you seen any big records broken? Like for the half or for the
At our event,
full? Yeah.
2 years in a row, we had 2 years in a row we had the Canadian. Actually, one year, the second year it didn't actually go, but one year we had the women's Canadian half marathon record broken at our event.
Do you remember the time or
It was 110. I want to say it was an hour and 10 minutes.
so that what would be the pace for that? Is it like 5 minutes or 5 minutes and
She's probably, yeah, she's probably running like 5:10s, probably.
it's crazy, right?
Yeah, man, they're flying those runners. The guy that won the Woodlands this year, he ran it in 2:28 on a hot day.
Yeah.
So he was flying himself. He was flying himself.
They're trying to run away from something, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was Rachel Cliff. She ran a 1:10:08.
Hmm.
And then our male record on the half marathon is a 1:03:55. The
That is,
very first year we did the Woodlands Marathon, our male record was set at 2:15:48. So he was flying.
mm,
Um, and then back in 1982, the race record was 2 hours and 34 minutes for a female in 28 seconds.
that is crazy speeds.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is just it's crazy, right? But before we go, Willie, is there was there anything else that you want to tell my audience that just a regular common person wouldn't know about, or anything about the race, or
No, I mean, other than you can come in if you want to run both weekends and get a third medal. If you're chasing medals, we've got what we call a double medal. You can run the 5K or 2K the weekend before and run the 10K half or full the following weekend, and you can get a third medal. So that's kind of cool. Um, we're obviously looking to give money back to organizations. So if there's volunteer organizations out there that you folks may want to bring to volunteer at the event and raise some funds for their organization, we're happy to help in that regard.
no, that's a
I think
good
that's
idea.
about it.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Anyway, Willie, thank you very much for your time. If you
All
guys
right.
if you guys want to reach me, my email is arun.gaalla@gmail.com. And Willie, before you go, can you give out the Woodlands Marathon website, please?
Yeah, the Woodlands Marathon website, Woodlands WOODLANDS Marathon MARATHON.com. The woodlandsmarathon.com is our website, and you can find all the information on our website. All right.
All right, Willie. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
All right. Y'all take care. Bye
All right,
bye.
you too. Bye.